Good evening and welcome. It is Thursday, October the 6th. Am I correct on that, guys? October
Yes,
6th. Welcome to A Beer and a Conversation. I am your co-host, Music Monk ATL. To my left, got my brother Rashid. To my right, we got Isaiah. Welcome, Isaiah.
Thank you.
Y'all know our boy Laris, man. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not, but he's always working behind the scenes, making sure that we keep great content coming towards you all and great talent as well. So, good to see you, man.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, man. Just real quick, I know we got a couple things to talk about. How the Braves looking? I always like to defer to you when it comes to real baseball talk, because you explain what is that wins above replacement to me. No one has ever been able to explain that, so you are my baseball sage and guru.
It's a weird stat, but it's a good one. It's not perfect. It is supposed to measure how many wins an individual player is worth over a replacement player. So a replacement level player position. Just being being a basic player. And so the two different ones, there's like one by Baseball Reference and one by Fangraphs. They use kind of different measurements.
Right.
So like the Baseball Reference one includes a little bit more defense than the Fangraphs one, which tends to be more offensive.
That makes sense.
Also, I think for pitching, the Baseball Reference one uses, I think, ERA, and I think, or maybe it uses fielding independent pitching, and I think the Fangraphs one uses runs allowed per 9 innings, something like that. So there's some subtle differences between the two, but basic idea is that like 2 represents like a starter. If you have a WAR of 2, then you're basically a starter. If you have a WAR of 5, that's like an all-star level. If you have a WAR of 8, that's like MVP level.
Okay.
So that's like a basic like way of thinking about WAR.
Gotcha.
So this year, Aaron Judge is at like a 10.6 WAR, which is really high.
Ridiculous.
A 10 WAR season is very, very unusual.
Ridiculous.
There may have only been maybe 20 of those ever in baseball. And Shohei Ohtani.
I was that's my next topic, because he's like both on both sides.
Yeah, it's interesting. His WAR is a little bit less, but I think he exposes a problem with WAR, because the thing is that, and it particularly when it comes to like MVP and like what value represents. For me, Ohtani's an MVP. I get why everybody thinks or wants Judge to be an MVP. I get it.
Because it's pretty.
Super mad at it.
It's pretty.
But the thing about Ohtani is that Ohtani, number one, like I said, Baseball Reference WAR gives you a penalty for defense. Ohtani, for his offensive numbers, is rated as a DH, and there's a penalty for a DH because a DH does not have a defensive contribution. So that's something that kind of works against Ohtani. But again, like the fact of the matter
so he plays every day?
Yeah, he hits every day.
He hits every day,
yeah.
And then he pitches on
every
what?
5 days.
4. Okay. I figured it was 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. So he, again, like, if the Yankees had to pick between Judge and this he's having an all-time great season.
He is.
But his like OPS plus
coming off an injury too last year, right? Wasn't he?
No, it's been a few years since he's been injured.
Okay.
So he's been healthy the last couple of years.
Okay.
But I think OPS plus is a good offensive statistic.
I like OPS
because it's normalized by ballpark and that sort of thing, and league and competition. And Judge's OPS plus is like 210, which is insanely high. Whereas Ohtani's is more like 145, 150. But the thing is that, so if Judge seems he is a much better hitter, but Ohtani's a fucking Cy Young caliber pitcher, and he only takes up one roster space.
One roster space, and does he typically bat on days that he pitches?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so for himself, he could literally win a game.
And
he
has won games by himself. Yes.
Right.
He has provided all the offense, and he has shut down the other team.
So real quickly, Braves. How you liking the Braves so far? It's October. Do we have that same air of magic that we had late September? I know the moves were different, right? But going into this year, there seems to be a different level of momentum, and there doesn't really seem to be a club that outright has the Braves number.
Well, I think right now, there's no other team that's playing as well as the Braves right now.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Now, again, like we won last year, and like a lot of things had to go right for us to win last year. So you just don't know. Baseball is so unpredictable. But by winning the division, they were able to avoid the three-game wild card series, which I would hate to like. That's where like the Dodgers, that's where teams like the Dodgers and the Braves will like, because again, like
they're so evenly matched. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You lose those first. In a longer series, the deeper team has the advantage. But in the short seasons, like.
But I feel like our pitching is like super deep though. Like,
well, we lost Spencer Strider, who has been, I think it's fair to say, our best overall starter. He hasn't played the whole year. He just came up in like late May. So Fried, is probably the Cy Young candidate, but Strider has been pitching. He's been dominant in a way that no other Braves pitcher has been. And he's injured. He has an oblique injury.
That's crucial.
He might be back. He might be back for the LDS, but I mean that's the big thing. I mean, obviously we're missing Albies too, and that's a issue. And we've had some injuries this year, but again, I think overall, man, I mean, that last series in Florida, I mean, they were, after sweeping the Mets, I mean, that was like the big.
That's always that's the big test. I mean, they were neck and neck all year.
And they beat DeGrom and they weren't neck and neck all year because the Mets were about 10.5 games in June.
Well, I mean, when I was paying it, I would say when I was paying attention to it early,
the last like 4 or 5 weeks, it's been neck and neck, but we were way behind. And so yeah, I mean, I think they look good. I think that we'll either play the Phillies or the Cardinals in the LDS. Both are good teams, but I mean, again, the way they took down DeGrom and Scherzer, I mean, those are two of the best, if not like two out of the top 5 pitchers in the whole league. They took them down back to back. And Bassett's no slouch either. So, I mean, it's hard to bet against him at this point, but baseball is a very humbling sport, so you just never know.
I definitely appreciate that insight. I mean, I could clearly go to the intranet, but I like to hear my people talk baseball because there's this notion of this concept that we are not interested in baseball for some reason. But I feel like baseball is really where we should be going in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me, the thing about baseball is that baseball is the most like statistically dense of all the sports. Like WAR, like wins above replacement, that sort of stuff. That's a relatively new statistic, but I think that like there's just a lot that you can learn from baseball that is applicable in like the real world, like particularly around like valuation of performance and that sort of
probability and stuff like all that.
Yeah, the stuff is like it's. I think that there's a lot of value to being a baseball fan from just that standpoint, just like understanding how you evaluate players. Right. But it's also, it's not a box game. It's a leisurely game. You go have some beers at the park.
True.
There's no clock or anything like that. So the game can be over in 2 hours. It can be over in 5 hours. But it is decided by the people on the field and not this arbitrary third party, which is a clock.
Like that.
So I think it's and black. We have a long storied history. Black people have really made an imprint on the history of baseball, and so there's that part too.
Isaiah. Welcome, man. Welcome to being in the conversation. Like I said, I know Larry's be calling up people behind the scenes. Give us your elevator spill, how you know Larry's, how you get here tonight, and then after that we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Oh man. So I known Larry's for about a while now, maybe about 14 years. Okay. 13, 14 years. So yeah, I was his little brother's friend.
Okay.
Which one?
Yeah, because he's the oldest, so all of them are his little brothers.
Right. So Tars, Pierce, and Justice.
Okay.
All right, so all of them.
Yeah,
pretty much all of them.
You said little brothers. I thought
brothers,
that's an apostrophe.
Right. Yeah, all the Hodges, they like family.
Excellent context. People don't know when they use the S apostrophe. We some nerds around here.
So yeah, but yeah, it really kicked off once we all, me and his little brothers, the 3 youngest one ended up going to school together.
Okay.
We transferred at the same time from Stevenson to go to this private school called Mount Vernon.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of just hanging around.
Okay.
I met Larry's. And yeah, of course we kept contact over the years.
Right.
So yeah, he hit me up, and I don't live too far from here, so I told him, I was about to get ready to watch Thursday Night Football.
Hey,
So,
Who's playing
man,
tonight?
it's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt
That's
Ryan.
Colts. Matt Ryan
And,
the Colts
Denver.
And Denver, yeah.
Yep.
So this
Oh.
Russell Wilson versus these are two quarterbacks with new teams.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan has not looked.
The Colts better not win that game.
He-
Larry's better not come a
real,
mile
man.
within these cameras if
Bruh.
the Colts win that game.
I don't think so. Not without their running back neither. I don't know.
Well, that
Yeah, I mean-
just makes it doubly worse if they win.
I mean, people were talking so much trash. Like, yeah, Matt Ryan, he's about to go up here. He's about to go to the playoffs. This, that, and that. I'm like, y'all, I get it. I know y'all did not want Matt Ryan to be the problem, and I'm not saying that he is the problem, 100%.
Well,
But even in those losses, I've seen more heart in some of those losses, and I don't like to count losses as wins.
Right.
But there is a certain way of like failing forward, right? You know what I mean? And just some of the stuff I've seen this season, yeah, I still it kind of pisses me off that but the Falcons are 2-2. The Falcons are 2-2.
Easily be 4-0.
well, I think it was a
The
nice
Falcons are
a reset at the quarterback position. And in this league, the quarterback got to be mobile.
Well, look,
They got to be able to get at line a little bit of extra time by extending the play. So I don't know. I think that's the biggest difference that I see because I don't think the line changed too much since Matt Ryan's been gone. It's just I feel it's the new legs back there that's able to extend them plays, either run, for first downs or complete some passes, and they're taking shots down the field. So,
The running
I don't
game-
think Mariota. I think Mariota's been terrible.
Oh no,
And
he's absolutely.
I think
been
that
terrible.
is. I mean,
He's
again,
been
like
terrible.
he's not been better than Matt Ryan.
He
I don't
has
think
not
he's
been-
better
no,
than
but
he
Matt
the
has
Ryan.
not been
team
better than Matt Ryan.
has. I don't know, man.
Our run
I know-
blocking scheme seems to be a lot better.
Yeah.
I know. I have an idea though. I think that Mariota, what Mariota offers is not even a lateral. It's not even like a lateral type of like a lateral type of upgrade. What it is that it is lateral, but it's the fact that Mariota has just enough speed to where between 2 to 4 plays a game that Matt Ryan would have completely done something bonehead because of his lack of athleticism. Mariota makes up for that just a little bit because he's more athletic.
Right.
Not necessarily better, but he's just a little bit more athletic. So,
I mean, he's definitely more athletic. But I
think
mean,
they should
if
get rid
look
of-
at how we are winning these games. We're winning them on the ground. We are not winning them with quarterback play.
and I think they should
And
get rid
defense.
of a trial.
Yeah, well, they
there.
should get rid of.
I like
absolutely.
the defense. I like the defense this
Yeah.
year. I also
Defense is
like
good, yeah.
having Drake London and Kyle Pitts like two towers on the
Yeah, you got to give them the ball,
I mean you definitely got to give them the ball.
which we ain't doing. And we did one game. They've had a little bit, but yeah, no, I agree.
They gotta
But
get
gotta
Pitts
the ball.
the
And
ball
Mariota's
more.
not been giving them the ball consistently.
They got to.
He has not.
We did 13 running plays in a row in his last game.
Well,
that tells you all you need to know about
that's
quarterback
what happened.
play.
We want the
After he
Browns
made
weren't
a-
stopping the run, so ain't no need to switch it
Look,
up.
but that was the third quarter because Mariota been fucking up so much in the beginning of the game. They had to move to the running game like
Well,
that.
my thing was I don't know why they didn't try to run from the get go when the Browns was missing, their best lineman out, the defensive lineman. Myles Garrett was out because of that car accident, so I think I would have been a little run heavy anyway just to see. And so, hey, you see third quarter they put somebody back there that they had no idea about, no game tape, and he punched them in the mouth.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see no issue in them doing 10 straight run plays. I mean, if
If
it's
they
working,
can't stop him. Yes.
he averaged like 10 yards a carry.
yeah.
I don't know if it was that much, but it was a lot. Well, yeah, that one kid.
Yeah,
that did
Huntley,
that
I
one.
think,
Yeah,
Huntley,
yeah.
yeah,
But they had 3 backs that had like 50 yards.
All
in that
right,
game.
so-
I think that's obviously what we can say that the Falcons are definitively missing. We're still trying to find that cornerstone lineman, and we need a running back who can legitimately carry the ball 15 to 25 times a game and give you between at least average 80 yards. If we get one running back that's a bruiser that can convert in third and short, because everyone knows the Falcons don't really have a third and short running game. That
Right.
really limits your fucking offense, man. You know what I mean? Like when they know you're going to drop back, whether or not it's a 3-step or a five step, they know you're going to drop back in third down. So we want to keep that third down, third and short, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, right? Anything outside of that, we don't have the run dominance, you know, the level to be able to set the tone with that pace.
I feel like when you got a target like Kyle Pitts, it shouldn't matter. Like you should be able to use him as your safety blanket.
Even Drake
down.
London, though, that boy is tough.
True.
He tough out there.
But I agree. I mean, obviously, I'd like to have all the options.
Yeah, all the
on
options.
The team. That's definitely a superior setup.
I don't know what it is about. I think Pitts is a very. I mean, and most receivers like that size, they're very timing based. But for him to be a tight end that size, I think they're still working on some. They're working on some sort of timing thing with them. You know what I mean? Because Mariota does have a slightly different release than Matt Ryan. That ball does come out a little bit faster, not a lot faster, but it does have a little bit more zip on it. You know what I mean? So for someone, you know, who's obviously going to get jammed up early because of his size.
Right.
The recovery from that, he needs to be able to recover a little bit better and get the hands and the feet. He could really get like some. He could really get some better. I think it's his feet. I think it's his feet game because he's a tight end.
Right,
I think that's what it is. I think it's his feet game. That's his one.
Yeah, I need him to be like Algie Crumpler and Tony Gonzalez.
And Tony Gonzalez, right? Them boys used to play ballet out there on them sidelines, boy. What y'all talking about?
Third down, those guys are automatic.
It was automatic. You knew it was going to. You knew it was. You knew where it was going. You knew, and it was crazy because it was like the craziest little dink. It was like he'll come back like Gonzalez to go out, run that little hook, come in like 2 yards inside the first down marker, do his little shuffle, spin around, do the little right. It was like textbook, bro. I loved it.
And Pitts has all the tools to get to that point, and it's fine. Like it's his second year in the league and all that, so you know you give him time. And again, it's a new scheme.
Right.
I think the real Mariota advantage is that he knows the scheme. Because he worked with our coach before, so like he knows that scheme and he's worked in the scheme and whatnot, which I think does give him an advantage there. But again, I need him to throw the damn ball.
Well, I mean, Mariota, I never really known him to be a big thrower anyway. Even his successful seasons and it was run heavy. His teams had good running backs, so he always could rely on the run game.
Derrick Henry.
I mean, right? He won playoff games where he had 48 passing yards.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry had 200 running yards.
But when you got Derrick Henry.
Sure, yeah, we don't have Derrick.
But what happened when Derrick Henry was kind of beat up like last season? Like that where was Tennessee last year? So it shows the difference when he don't have a running back. So, I mean, I guess I didn't expect him to come here, slinging the ball around anyway. I thought they were going to try to groom Riddle for the first couple weeks and then potentially start, testing them out there.
That's dangerous. You can't do that with a team like the Falcons because you'll waste your pick. You'll throw away your pick. Use Mariota use him for the slightly non-bruised up veteran body with a little bit of athleticism and some leadership, and figure out what your offensive line is going to really look like. Because you can't put a kid like Ritter in. Because I think Ritter's probably going to end up being like better than we think he's going to be in the league.
Oh, for sure.
But the problem is that we ain't got no goddamn line. I don't want to put him out there without no line. I just don't want to do that shit.
Well, I mean, that's instead of keep drafting tight ends or wide receivers, they need to draft on that line.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, at the end of the day,
Jake Matthews
that was one of the worst ones
or whatever.
They
got some first round picks on that line. They just haven't really worked out all that.
They got Matthews based on the name. Now he was good, but based on the name, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not terrible.
He's not terrible, but we need somebody locked down that at the end of the day I need somebody like what's old boy? And I mean I know. I mean the days of the Orlando Browns and Jonathan Ogden's, like those guys. I think those guys are like long gone in a sense. I think they're kind of long gone. I think tackles need to be a little bit more athletic because the quarterbacks are a little bit more athletic. So you don't need like a big brick wall right there. But we need somebody that's guaranteed to make sure that your investment is going to be protected back there. Because that's the one thing that we need.
Yeah.
We got quarterbacks. We got really everything we need besides running back, left tackle, and we still need like
use a decent linebacker or a decent end or whatever.
Safety. I'm thinking indoor safety.
Yeah. I mean, I take both, but I just think we again, you got Grady Jarrett. It's always gonna get his, but like we don't have another dominant lineman, that can kind of keep those other offensive lines honest.
My man, 100 grand. What's good with you, man? Welcome. Feeling that jacket, bro. It's jacket season. That's what we doing. About that time. We got Scotty in the building, man. We're gonna get you a mic here in just a second, man. So as soon as we do that, we're gonna go ahead and hop into the meat and potatoes here. Rap lyrics, man. Rap lyrics.
They got progressively shitty over the years.
Progressively, I mean, it's been a fucking nosedive, man.
Yeah.
It's been a nosedive when it comes to lyrics. But I will say that there's been this ongoing battle in America between artists and what they say and then how they actually live their lives, right?
Right.
So, we can think of a lot of different artists whose art may have imitated life or may have just been a caricature in some ways, right? So, Johnny Cash.
It goes both ways.
It does go both
ways. Some people believe they're on hype.
Right.
And be trying to keep it street when they was never street to begin with, and then they get out there talking that smack, and then they try to live the life, and it's not.
I think that in the past few years, with roughly about 24 rappers being killed, the recent indictment of YSL, right? Let's just talk about it. We got Thug, we got Gunna. Actually, Gunna's violent crimes charge was actually recently dropped, which lets me know that he's probably not going to do no real time. Lets me know that he was really just an artist. Some people, like if he really had something to do with it, they would not be kind of letting him go like that. But today's topic, I mean, we're just really talking about Fannie Willis's attempt to use lyrics. Is that okay to use lyrics to go after people? In comparison or juxtaposition to California Governor Gavin Newsom passing a bill stating that they will no longer be using rap lyrics to use to prosecute certain crimes.
Or I thought they were going to limit the use.
Which is very relative to the perception. Like, are you going to use 3 words, 3 lines? Yeah. Well, like what is that?
You gotta call a name out.
I mean, right? You know what I mean.
Well, that's the thing too, right? So, I mean, I like that he's limiting it because at the end of the day, if they're not investigating a case and you don't say anything in your songs that kind of, may get them wondering if you know more than you know about a certain case or something that they're investigating, then I feel they should leave it alone because it is an expression of art at times. It is what it is. I mean, I think the DA here in Georgia, I think she's gone a little hard, on the rappers per se.
Okay, this is about to get good. This about to get. I was waiting on like an actual stance on this. So you think that she's going too hard, Scotty? Yeah. I know we working on getting you a mic. Just real quick, too hard or what she needs to do?
I personally believe that depending on the nature of the crime, if there's a rapper under and if there's a rapper under, is my mic on?
Yeah.
If there's a rapper who's actually under indictment and it's a severe crime like homicide, a violent crime, I'm very tough on violent crime because it's a menace to society when you're committing violent crimes. I think the lyrics should be used, but I do think that it is kind of a slippery slope when you just say, hey, we're going to start using rappers' lyrics to prosecute them. But I think it should be done on a case-by-case basis, and there should always be discretion by the criminal justice system. you know, just to make sure that, you know, because like the brother said, you know, rap music, rock and roll, I mean, any type of genre of music is an art form. And you know, I think that it kind of does set a, you know, tricky precedent, you know, when you just say, hey, we're going to start using lyrics to prosecute rappers. But if it's a serious charge and there's, you know, evidence without reasonable doubt that this person is guilty or an accomplice to a crime like that, I think absolutely they need to use all the evidence they can get, because crime is out of control. And we know that a lot of these rappers are linked to gangs, like the YSL, for example. They are linked to a lot of violent crimes, including homicide.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she said that she said that this gang was responsible for 80% of the crime in Atlanta, and I'm like,
I think that's a stretch.
But hold on, I was talking to Laris today, and I said, I think when you listen to what she's saying, it may be true, under the understanding that the population of Atlanta is 500,000 people.
If she's talking about Fulton County,
the city. You see what I'm saying? So if she's talking about within the city limits, yeah, it's semantics, but she could make a strong case for concentrations of hotspots that fit within the city limits that she can link them to. But she can't put all her cards out on the table because.
She is Fulton County, though. I mean, just as a point of clarification.
She is.
She's Fulton County DA. She is. And the Fulton County as a whole has 1 million plus people. It's the biggest county in the state. And you know I'm a numbers guy, so that 80% number, that's I mean, one gang controlling 80% of the crime. I don't know how many crimes Atlanta has per year.
All right.
But I know there are thousands, bless you. There are thousands upon thousands of crimes in any major city every single year, whether it's homicide, robbery, rape, carjacking. I mean, you got little 15 to 16-year-old knuckleheads stealing cars every day that have nothing to do with YSL. I'm not defending YSL at all, but I do understand Fonnie Willis's position, but 80%.
But let's just agree it's an arbitrary number. Let's just say it's a lot of niggas doing some dumb shit.
Well, the thing is too, and so, you know, looking at everything, the big picture, if you don't have a high conviction rate on these crimes, or even a high rate of solving these investigations that happened on these crimes, you know, that ain't all rappers' faults neither. So you can't, to a degree, it's kind of a cop-out, because now you're hoping and praying that these rappers continue, or artists in general, continue to just eventually tell on themselves. And again, you have to listen to it intently to start putting together the lyrics to coincide with the investigations, right? So at the end of the day, I feel that they are getting. I don't understand what was the big problem. Okay, you got the YSL, you coming after them, right? So you're gonna use some of the lyrics. That's fine, but that shouldn't be the major thing of your case. You should have other hard.
I don't think it is.
It should have.
I don't either.
It's not the.
But they looking back at all these rappers, and again, this is where I have the issue with it. Whenever something is being pushed for any type of cleanup, what community does it hit the most? And I'm not saying this. We're not our worst. We're not our worst.
And who
enemies.
makes up the majority of these crimes?
But who profits off of it, though? I understand everything.
I don't care
that
who profits. I just care who dies.
I do, because
you can profit all you want.
Well, the thing is,
children are dying, bro.
But that's my point, and it's due to the systems that were put in place. Redlining is a true thing. Like, they redlined the map of the cities, and if you live in those cities, under that red line, your property value go down, because who predominantly live there? Black people. So they put black people with being poor, and so that's the issue that we going at. And Fulton County is predominantly black for the most part, and the tie that she's targeting is black. We're not looking at the lyrics. We're not talking nobody. I ain't seen no DA talking about the lyrics of country artists, of
Country artists don't.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Let him finish.
It doesn't matter. This is where it goes into being equal though. Equal. If you're gonna start targeting a demographic, a group of artists on their lyrics, you gotta look at everybody's music. You gotta look at everybody's lyrics, and then you gotta look into if that is true or not. So if they can't investigate and put the people that's committing these crimes to jail through thorough investigations like normal, through what we pay for, us tax citizens pay for every day for y'all to go out here and keep us safe. If they're not doing that and they can't do it and they relying solely on music, you need to look at all of it.
Let him respond. I don't think they're solely relying on music at all.
I don't think you can name a country artist that's out here talking the kind of shit that these niggas be talking about.
Number one.
But why they push it? Why they push it?
And we don't. I mean, do we know for sure that they aren't using country music? My guess is if there was an epidemic of redneck white people in pickup trucks with hats or whatever was killing niggas. There's a community of them making country music and talking about their shit in Fulton County. Then maybe we have something to talk about. I don't think we have anything to talk about here. I think the numbers are very clear as to like who's doing this shit. I'm just saying. I'll leave it there. Go ahead, bro.
Scotty, what you got?
There is no other genre of music, country, rock and roll, pop, where you got rap, where you got artists talking about, I'm riding around with the stick, I'm spraying up your block. They're not doing that, bro.
We the only ones that tolerate that bullshit.
Now, exactly. Now, and to be honest,
it's not that it's tolerated.
To be honest with you, bro.
It is revered. Sorry, not tolerated.
To be honest with you, the only genre of music that is remotely associated with wilding out and being violent is that heavy metal death stuff, and they don't really even do that no more.
It's more genres, but to your point,
you know, historically, there's only one notorious gang that listened to that metal stuff that used to terrorize communities, and they sold a lot of methamphetamine. And I'm pretty sure I heard of the group they called Hell's Angels. There was a motorcycle gang, and they specialize in distribution of methamphetamine. They have committed homicides. But when you compare it to the rap game, bro, we're going back to the 80s and 90s, bro. It's been so many rappers rapping about how much dope they selling, how many people they knocking off. Now you look at them boys up there in Chicago, I'm smoking my ops. They literally rapping about who they done smoked.
Right. Yes. And it's not an excuse, but we always got to look at the big picture here too. Us black artists are not going to get paid if we don't fit what they want to push. So the last push,
with that one. But
the last push.
As a young man, you just like that's.
No,
that's
it's not. Think about the last 10 years, how the music has just changed. They glorify.
I believe my man is trying to put lipstick on the pig, bro.
You can look at it how you look. You can look at these artists are selling their souls or whatever to get money, right? Because look how when Young Thug first came out, he wore a dress on his album, right? It could do anything. That clout thing is real.
But you gotta tie it in. But okay, Isaiah, I get what you're saying.
It's like the 40 acres in the mule to a degree.
You have to tie it into why you believe that they should not be using the specificity of these rap lyrics. When
I'm not saying that they shouldn't.
But you are saying that though. You're saying you're assuming that they just take some lines. For example, YNW Melly killed his homeboys.
That's right.
And he in jail.
But he dropped them off at the hospital. They died in front of the hospital. He went home and made a song that eloquently stated every aspect of the timeline. And that right there, that is an exception. It is not the rule. But you cannot ignore the fact. Hold on, Isaiah. You let me finish. Now I hold them off of you. Let me finish, young man. Mm-hmm. When people be out here constantly with the lyrics, art don't, you know what I'm saying, it's just my art, there's too much of a contradiction in the community when it comes to keeping it real until some shit happen to you. And in the middle, you have the precipice and this intersectionality between what we promote in our households and what we put in our ears and how we behave. There's a direct correlation. So I do understand what you're saying, but they don't have to do that shit. The whole targeting people because they're the redlining and all that. Do you know how many prosperous communities developed that were in red line districts? So before you go into the systematic thing, which does play a role, understand that these people are voluntarily going out promoting an image that they know
because who is cutting their check?
It does not matter. They got all these people that got money, bruh. They got money. There's no reason. It does matter, Isaiah. When you have a group of people, our collective buying power is over $1 trillion.
But how often do we get together and do that?
Then say that.
Whose fault is that?
Say that.
It's all
you gotta say that. Accountability is our fault.
Take accountability.
Redlining ain't got shit to do with it.
Redlining ain't got nothing to do with
it. Ain't got nothing to do with it.
My point is, it does. To a degree, it does because it's based off of your experience. 92% of homeowners in red light communities are white. It's based off of how you grew up. Everybody is not dealt the same hand. Everybody do not have the same opportunities. That is a lie. Now, is it up to you to change that? Yes. But where I was going with it is, and where I start talking about being profitized off of it, our detriment is their profit. So if you want to be signed to, let's say, Warner Music or any big label where you will get that money to be able to push yourself, right, as an artist and really make headway, you need one of those groups coming out the hood. There's a statistic in Fulton County that if you are born into poverty, you have a 70 to almost 80% chance of remaining in poverty. It's 10 times harder to get up out of poverty than it is to continue to build wealth. And yes, to a degree, that's on us. But our artists and our culture has always sold out to a degree. Before, it was the car. They give us the cars, and then just look at him. I got this car, he don't. So it's still the same thing. So if they're not pushing, because like I said, some of these artists, you can start to tell the ones that's not really about their life, that probably never sold it or anything like that. Because after a while, that image start to tarnish and they start doing other stupid stuff, right? So we know that's not the person doing it. And that's my point on they gotta be, it's really subjective when they want to use the lyric. You gonna have people dumb to go do something and then talk about it. And so if that's on them. If they're investigating that case and that aligns, be my guest. Use the lyrics because at that point it's coherent in your investigation. But I don't think that this at the drop of a dime because you're indicting YSL that now you about to look at everybody else's music that's not involved with YSL. I don't think that's cool.
I don't think that's cool either. But I don't think that's what's
I don't think that's what's going on either. But if that is the case, to your point, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the subjective investigations, innately are subjective. There is someone subjectively looking at what was left behind and trying to put together an objective picture as to what presumably happened. Like you gotta use evidence, you gotta use different types of ingredients, especially when it comes down to your people. And that's my thing. So if it's your little cousin or something happened to your relative, and they can convict this person by some shit that they went and bloviated about it in a song, you're gonna be like, fuck that shit, run it. And unfortunately, the people who tend to exhibit a certain type of behavior, that's just what happens. You can't be talking about killing the ops, and then your ops, who you have made it known on all across social media that this is your ops. You think them people not gonna come back and look at your lyrics when you talk about these your ops?
Something happened, yeah.
What you mean if something? Yeah, of course, if
something happened to that individual.
That's the whole point, Isaiah. When something happens and your dumb ass been out here talking about how you gonna light the block up, don't be surprised when they come back and say
after the block
okay. This is what you talk about.
Okay, so here to all the fans out there, don't support it neither. But when is it going to take effect? Because you got rappers like Big Crit and all those, they never reached their plateau because of pretty much what they talk about. You got J. Cole, he's born. All the conscious rappers you got out there, they're born. They don't rap.
No, this is where you need to hold the people. You need to hold those. And I'm sorry,
I am the people. It's
stay on them. They not. Yeah, stay on them.
Well, no, it ain't about. We got to stay on each other because at the end of the day, we are the only culture that cannot work cohesively together. We always are planning. Look at me, who's better game. But then you have a family of Chinese move over here and buy the whole block up. And then be looking at my rent raising, this is that and third. Was that? But we not. And now that's why I'm so happy with the push on certain rappers talking about financial literacy and pushing on building wealth, because wealth over time builds way faster than anything else. So at the end of the day, and that's why I brought up the 40 acres and the mule, because at this point it felt like they're trying to disproportionately round us up again in any other tactic they can use. I'm not saying that they should not use lyrics for when it really makes sense to. But my point to just solely look at those lyrics, that disproportionately put us in their eye. Just like how they dropped the stuff.
You are misspeaking, young man. You have to stop saying that they are solely looking at lyrics. I agree with 99.9% of what you're saying. When you elocute your argument, stop saying shit that's not true. They are not.
Why has the lyrics become so big? Nobody batted eye before when they use lyrics. So now that they're attacking these games, why are the lyrics even a big deal if you got a solid case?
But like Monk just said, bro,
that's all I'm pulling at.
They're not targeting the rappers and just going solo at the lyrics. Like he said, an investigation is like baking a cake. The lyrics are just one of many ingredients in that cake. If they got the murder weapon, if they got your DNA at the scene, if they got you on camera and the lyrics, that's gonna be part of that.
Like they got what's the name renting the car out. Like that's solid evidence to me.
But DAs do not waste. DAs are very arrogant and conceited. They don't want their record to be. They want to hide. They want to win. Right. They want 90 over 90%. So they not gonna sit up here and use up all of these resources, get in front of the camera because it is a politically ascribed and achieved position. You have to be elected. They not gonna do that shit and fall. Look, Paul Howard learned the hard way. He fucked himself up with that Ray Sharp Brooks.
He really did.
He fucked himself with that, and he learned
his ego.
Yeah. Wait, you see, because he over pursued.
And also those two cops. You remember they had those two college students. They tased those two college students. He was like attempted murder.
And everybody got the charges dropped. The two officers who shot Ray Sharp Brooks were just released not too long ago.
Yeah. They still working.
They you know what I'm saying? So,
but the main one had to be reinstated.
Officer
Because he should just fire.
That was a politically motivated.
This ain't shit political about this when I can't go into the city no more and just enjoy my fucking city because I don't know what these little niggas got popping off.
Or when 10-year-old children are getting shot and killed at a fucking mall just trying to shop.
I understand the frustration. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. It happens every day.
So you already
every day.
Yeah, you from the Dakota.
So I understand exactly what you're saying. And that's why one reason why I look at it totally different. That's one reason why I educate my family, especially the younger ones, to make wiser decisions, to know what they have and what they can accomplish, because us black people do not know that. And at the end of the day, I don't care. My thing is we just got to be smarter. So the thing is, all right, yeah, we us as fans got to do better with the music that we like. But again, if you're going to be a hot rapper that's black, you got to rap about that guns and stuff, unless you're going to really put up a lot of your money and push. It is what it is. And my thing is too. It's hard to.
It may be hard
because the absolute is always used against us.
To that genre, because
that's a nice.
It's a lot of young brothers that's listening to the Kodak Blacks and the. I'm in my 30s, but I can't keep with all these young people.
Me neither, but that's why I said the thing I said about Cole.
They are choosing to rap about
because that's what they are programmed though.
If you are
that's a part of this reprogramming that I've been talking about.
If you are a black male entertainer, your fastest way to the top is by going with that gangster rapper swag, or being in the rainbow community. That's just the way it is.
Or how about this for a fucking idea? How about you just be true to yourself? Because there are some people before you who've laid out the framework of how to do it without selling the fuck out.
Look at Drake.
So if you want to, you only sell out when you want to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
That's when you're susceptible to being sold. When you sell your soul.
Right.
When you talk about Big Crit never had no desire to be famous.
Right.
The nigga had desire to make great music.
I wasn't talking about fame. I was talking about him profiting off of his great music, because I love Crit.
But listen,
so that's what I'm saying.
But let me finish. You made a point, and I'm responding to something that you mentioned about an artist. Big Crit is one of those people. J. Cole is also one of those people. There are a lot of artists out here who are making music for the sake of making music. Everything else follows the passion. Whether or not they get the you know what I'm saying, the accolades from the mainstream don't matter, because their base is gonna always be there. Big Crit gonna sell out in Atlanta every time he come here, whether or not he got a song on the radio or not. That lets me know that there's people out here that are doing the work to discover what's really out there beyond what's on the radio. So yeah, black folk lazy as fuck. Stop being so lazy. Do some research. Don't just listen to what they give you, and a lot of these artists will just atrophy and fall the fuck off.
And that's my point. Like, some of these rappers out here not rapping their own lyrics. And so, and that goes into knowing who after the target, because sometimes you might be targeting somebody and that's not even their lyric. So, I mean, I get it. Like I said, if it makes sense, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the finance game myself. So, like I said, if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it don't, I'm not wasting my time with it. And so, like I said, as long as it's a huge push on it, you know, because, and like, that's what I don't really like. When it comes to the culture thing, we like to talk about a whole bunch of what is, but we don't really be out there helping either a lot, you know? And so, we just got to do better as a people. And to your point though, stop putting out all that music. Like the kid that got killed here, dude from Chicago. You know, King Von, excellent storyteller. He could have wrote anything and be able to reiterate it in the song and still sell. And because I felt like listening to his music, I felt like, oh, he's gonna indict him. So they gonna come get this boy after a while. He's a known shooter, as they say, so it is what it is.
Kiki, the little Kiki that his killer girlfriend that he ended up knocking off.
Now, and so my point is, when you got dangerous people like that, like he was dangerous, right? People were truly terrified of him, right? When you got dangerous people like them, why does it take you so long? He's beating these cases, but yet alone, he's rapping about it. They ain't come get him. So my thing is the streets ended up getting them before they did. So that's my point on when it be subjective, when it's subjective.
A lot of them rap about it. That's
so they got to round them all up at this point, right? That's my point. You got to be consistent. So are they going to just round up all the rappers, all the gangster rappers?
Committing crimes.
Yeah.
We don't know all the time.
Yes.
I think that crimes happen. They investigate. They get leads. If the lead is a rapper, then that opens up.
If they have real physical DNA plus the rap lyrics, your ass is grass.
Yeah.
That's just
And so that's when I feel that I don't got no issue with it.
Fellas, man, great show, man. I love the way it came together. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is one of those living conversations. At the end of the day, I just would like to say, I'm going to give everybody a chance to do their closing out. Black people be talking about keeping it real until the feds come put that shit on your ass, and it's just lyrics. It's just a notion. Are we to keep it real, or are we to subjective? Whatever it is not helping us as a whole. But Isaiah, what you got, man? Appreciate you coming out. Hope to have you out again.
I mean, if you not, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
And to answer your question, I mean, if like I said, if you're out here doing stuff, you know, you shouldn't be talking about it anywhere, right? You know, because you can get caught up anyway just talking about it. So I think as our black artists, we got to be smarter, and we just got to be smarter and more supporting of each other in general. That's just my take on it. And I had an excellent time here, so thank y'all for having me.
No doubt. Glad to have you, brother. Scotty, what you got for me, brother?
Man, in closing, I just want to say that, you know, the criminal justice system is there to do a job, and they're going to do their job one way or another. And over the years, their investigation skills and resources that they use to investigate and solve crimes have gotten more and more sophisticated. Mm-hmm. You are making their job easier when you go out there and do stuff, and then want to go spit it on some rap song. That's just what it is. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, there was no social media. Now they can use your social media. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, the criminals, they live a certain type of lifestyle, whether they put it on a rap song or not. And as far as the rap lyric controversy goes, some people are for it, some people are against it. But if you ain't doing no crime, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Exactly.
Shitty, what you got for me?
Yeah, I guess my thing is that, you know, number one, I think we as black folk take music probably a little bit more seriously than other cultures do. And I think, and it's a bigger part of our cultural identity than it is for a lot of other people. And I think that, you know, I'm not a Puritan. Like, I think there's a place for everything. And I think for me, the issue is that the rap game in particular has become so oversaturated by all this violent gang, drug stuff, prostitution, whatever, that it's just overrepresented. There was a time when you had that, and you had like Luke, and you had Tribe Called Quest, and you had like all these other cats, you know, and it was much more balanced. And I think what happens now is that because it's become so much more saturated that way, that the differentiator becomes your realness on the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of motherfuckers is differentiating themselves by actually doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Or they in the game and they get in the rap game because they see that like they can use that as an avenue to get more money. And I just, for me, that's the core thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a cultural thing, and I don't think it's an impossible thing for us to get over. But it is something that we have to be intentional about and think about, like all the great music that Black people have generated over centuries, and looking at where we are now and asking ourselves, can we do better? Man, and I think the answer is yes.
I love it. Guys, thank you all so much. I think we all agree we need a paradigm shift in how we approach the collective and the creation of art, music, and culture. It's your boy, Music Monk ATL. Being in the conversation. Larry, man, we see you out there doing big things. East Point, smoke some dank.
Ooh, National got the skanks.
Peace.